Doki Doki Literature Club, a cult classic hit that yet again revitalizes and breathes even more new life into the potential and reputation of the indie gaming scene, and for very good reason. This game has won numerous awards, including the IGN People's Choice of the Best Adventure Game, Best Story, Most Innovative, and the Best PC Game Award of 2017, which is saying quite a lot, because 2017 was a very good year for gaming. Like, holy crap, we got a lot of good stuff. If a free indie game on Steam can stand up to the likes of these games, it must have done something very unique and very new to the art form to further progress the possibilities that games are open to, and oh boy, does it. So today I will be taking a closer look at what makes this game stand out amongst most games released in recent years, because visual novel is not a very popular genre of gaming, like, at all, and it's also a good excuse for me to talk about why I like this game so much, because I do have a lot to say about this game. I feel the need to warn the internet that my opinions will be expressed in this video. Your opinion and my opinion do not need to match up. But now that that tangent's over, let's move on to the real meat of the video. And we'll start by breaking down the story. We begin as a high school boy, and our best friend Sayori begs us to join a club to help us avoid becoming a social outcast in the future, and after being a very unlikable and lazy protagonist, your character decides he'll check out her club for a cupcake. Okay, what a likable protagonist so far. Our character then lazily drags himself into the club in the hopes that it's the best goddamn cupcake he ever has, because he does not feel like joining a club. You're then greeted by 3 other lovely girls, Yuri, Natsuki, and Monika, a colorful bunch who want you to join their club so that way their club can be officially confirmed as a high school club, so that way they can participate in the school festival. You're then encouraged by the club leader Monika to help read and write poems for your other members, to help prepare for the festival, and to just all around have a place to relax where everybody can hang out and just have a good time in school. You then decide to join the club in the hopes of getting closer to one of these girls. The game then conditions you to think, oh yeah, cute dating sim, best girl Yuri, best girl Natsuki, yeah, whatever. And after a couple in-game days of this kind of mindset, Sayori then stops you dead in your tracks to reveal to you that she's had really bad depression for basically her whole life, and she hid it from you because she didn't want your attention, because she thought that you should be focusing on better and more important things. Your cardboard cutout of a character actually decides to start showing some character in this rather somber moment, and you can either choose to confess your love to Sayori, or you can friend-zone her as if her life isn't going poorly enough already. So the game has now shifted in tone quite heavily, but you kind of shake it off because you're just like, I'm sure that was just one moment. I mean, I doubt they'd get any crazier than that. Oh my god! No, I think it's safe to say that was not a false alarm. So you conclude Act 1 with Sayori, the once cheeriest girl in the high school literature club, hanging in her room, and not figuratively either, literally hanging in her room. The game has now hit you like a truck, and just like that, you're back to day 1, and you're greeted with this disgusting image, and you're like, what the heck is that? Get it away from me, ugh! The music gets increasingly more ominous and messed up, and you start seeing the game freak out, like abnormal freak out. Whether it's strange text, transitions between character pop-ups, and mysterious images and poems, the game has now made it so you no longer know what to expect from anything that it presents to you. The second timeline heavily emphasizes the absence of Sayori and her lighthearted banter to calm everybody else down when things get escalated, because you see a lot of the same social interactions within the club on the second timeline, but without Sayori, they all get worse. Yuri and Natsuki become ruthless towards each other's personal problems, Monika becomes increasingly more mysterious and self-aware, and the game toys with your expectations even further. Act 2 then ends with Yuri going batshit crazy in the head and stabbing herself in the chest. Natsuki sees this sight and starts puking, and Monika deletes the other character files altogether. Monika then gets you alone in her own special room and spills the beans on how she manipulated Sayori and Yuri's personalities to lead to their demise, and how she made Yuri and Natsuki say those awful things about each other. She then elaborates on why she did that, and how she was aware that this was all a game, and how she was never given a chance to love you as the other girls did, thus rendering her use as a character absolutely worthless. You then delete her character file, and she resets the game so that you restart on a timeline where she never existed. You then begin a somewhat mini third act that begins with Sayori being the club president and everybody getting along, further emphasizing the peace and serenity that Sayori brings and the chaos that Monika brought when she was present. Sayori then thanks you for leading Monika, as apparently whoever becomes the club president is now self-aware that this is all a game. The game then caves in on itself as Monika deletes the whole game. You're then greeted to probably one of the most emotionally confused credit sequences in any video game ever, as you really don't know how to feel about the story as it comes to a close with the nice music in the background and everything after that rather horrific imagery that you were just greeted to. This game naturally plays out its narrative in a very unique way, with it being a visual novel and all, involving timelines with nobody remembering what happened but Monika, how the presence of certain characters and the absence of others affects the environment of the club, the way the game throws you off and never lets go of you, the sudden shift from cheery dating simulator to psychological horror. The story really is a thrill ride and loves making you question everything about how you sympathize with certain characters, which leads me to the aspects of the game I appreciate the most: the characters. Character is what I like most about a game. Whether it's the game's sense of identity, theming, environment, or mainly the actual characters in the game. I find characters what keeps me invested in a world, story, or game. Had the characters in this game fallen flat, felt irredeemable, or unlikable aside from the protagonist, I would not appreciate this game nearly as much as I do now. Every character has something to love about them, but they aren't perfect either. They have real problems that can definitely cause the serious problems as they're shown in the game. Sayori's unaddressed depression, Yuri's loneliness and obsessive nature, Natsuki's neglectful, abusive father causing malnourishment, and Monika having a fear of her fate being tied to a string and out of her control. With these problems that can definitely change somebody's life for the worst, I feel bad for everyone in this game. They all mostly go crazy via Monika's manipulation anyway, but even Monika's lack of self-purpose makes me feel bad. All their positive attributes are something that I really appreciate. How Natsuki's so playful and has an underappreciated hobby of reading manga. How Yuri's so gentle, kind, and overly self-conscious. How Sayori's happy, outgoing, and friendly. And how Monika's so passionate about literature and makes for a great leader figure. Despite their crazy antics in Act 2, they always manage to make me care about their well-beings as characters. Not to mention their designs. The art style of the characters is so pleasant to look at, and man, it is beautiful. All the characters have wonderfully distinguishing features in their art to make them all varied and different. All the expressions that the characters emote as well as their dialogue are incredibly fitting of their characteristics, and also the backgrounds, man. The art in this game is just beautiful. So with the story and characters being such big highlights for me, what was my low point of this game? Or in other words, what about this game did I actually not enjoy? And it's arguably the biggest part of any video game ever, the gameplay. Not to say I didn't enjoy the parts with gameplay, but there is so little of it that sometimes it's hard to remember that this is a video game in which most would expect there to be more aspects of gameplay integrated within it. Now this is more so a criticism of the genre of visual novel. However, you just influence very little of the story in this game. In this aspect, I feel a game like Undertale trumps Doki Doki pretty damn hard. Now before I go on, I am aware that these are not the same type of video game. I'm just simply drawing comparisons from them because I feel like Undertale, a very story-driven title as well, handled this very differently, and I think handled it a lot better than this game did in terms of it being a video game and not a book or a movie. In Undertale, you influence the fate of the characters, how you interact with them, the outcomes of the story, and there's just a lot more involvement with the player. But in DDLC, you influence some dialogue. You change the words that are presented on the screen. Ultimately, my biggest problem with this is that you affect nothing about the grand scheme of the game. You don't change the final outcome at all. No matter what you do, you end Act 1 with Sayori hanging, Act 2 with Yuri being stabbed and stuck with Monika, and Act 3 with the club in shambles and the game deleting itself. And while I find it to be an unworthy trade-off in terms of gameplay mechanics, I feel it's very interesting that Dan Salvato chose to keep the more restricted storyline and story outcome, to sort of reflect on how out of control Monika felt about her own fate, how any choice that she was allowed to make within the game didn't affect her fate at all, so why should your fate be any different? Why should anyone's fate be any different? I just feel that that's a very interesting choice. Not exactly the right choice, I still feel that it's bad as a commercial product advertised as a video game, But I definitely think it's an interesting choice, and I definitely think it could have worked out if he kind of tweaked it a little more. Now, what I said before wasn't 100% true. There is one way to affect the very end of the game, like the very last part of it. If you complete Act 1 after seeing every CG with Sayori, Natsuki, and Yuri, and reset before Sayori hangs herself, you can get the closest thing to a good ending. Just be sure you save at the first poem and reset to it before Sayori's death until you finish with the third girl. Act 1 and Act 2 will then continue as planned, but during Act 3, instead of Sayori creeping you out, she'll thank you for spending time with all the girls, and the credits will delete themselves just a little bit later than they do in the normal ending. You'll also get a more heartfelt letter from Dan Salvato about the creative process he took to create this game. So in that regard, you slightly influenced the very end of the game, but you get my point. You won't experience tons of different tidbits of story changes like you would in a game like Undertale. That being said, it does make for a more universal experience for every player, so you see similar reactions throughout everyone who plays it. But it helps lead to easier conversations about this game. Either way, I feel I put it best when comparing it to reading a book or watching a movie. Of course you can replay it and have a good time, but you'll never get a new experience out of future playthroughs. And I love rereading books and rewatching movies, and I have no problem with replaying this game. It's just that you're not going to experience anything different like you could in other games. This makes it so that the game's replay value is basically non-existent. I've been complaining and moaning for quite a while, so why don't we hop back on the positive side of the fence? There were definitely parts of gameplay that I really liked. For example, when writing poems for the girls, you have to pick words that the girl you're aiming for would like. This is a neat way to manipulate dialogue while learning what the character is like without even speaking to them. I also really like the ability to seamlessly save and reload anytime. But what's cool about that is there are actually moments where you can't save, further adding to more of the glitchiness of this game. And speaking of glitches, this game is full of them, and many Easter eggs. If you want to know more, go look up a video of them. They're actually really cool, but I'm certainly not going to go over all of them because there is a lot to cover on that front. So it's not that the gameplay present is bad, to me there's just not nearly enough of it to really call this a video game. At least not a fully fledged one anyway. But now back on the positive side of the fence again, we have the presentation. The art, like I said before, is just beautiful. Both the characters and the backgrounds are fitting of the themes, and the differentiating features in the characters make them all memorable. The writing is also very well done, hitting the dramatic beats when they need to, as well as the comedic ones. This is yet another reason why I adore these characters. They always spoke in character, until Monica manipulated them for you to go, oh wait, something's up here, that's not normal. There are also a lot of lines that you see in Act 1 that you're just like, oh, I mean, that really serves no relevance to what's happening now, I'm sure they'll play into something later. And then in Act 2, when you revisit it, you're like, oh, that's what that meant! Which just further adds to how neat it is that this game really doesn't hesitate to break the fourth wall in any capacity that it's able to. But back to the writing, every time that they brought up a very serious topic, such as loneliness, neglection, feelings of worthlessness, depression, fear, anxiety, friendship, and love, they're incredibly effective when they're brought up. And the thoughts of the matter were always brought up to serve as emotional character moments, and they worked on me every time the beautiful, sad piano music came on. Which, by the way, the music's awesome too. It is incredibly basic, but it's fitting, memorable, and catchy. But like I said, very one note, and you've probably heard it throughout this video. I kind of ran out of tracks to use, so I'm kind of resorting to other soundtracks, so yeah. Speaking of samey, that's another issue I have. The environments are very few in number in this game. Once again, the art is fantastic and by no means amateur's work, but you see like 5 unique backgrounds in the entire game, which 50% of the time you'll be spending in the club room. It's no deal breaker, but a change in scenery would help shake things up a little bit. But the presentation of this game is wonderful at encompassing the entire experience, being great at convincing you that you're in a cutesy game and conditioning you to think positively, and then knowing when to transform into the monster that it truly is on the inside. So far in this video I've been talking about the elements within the game, but I just want to step outside the box for just a little bit and talk about the factors outside of the game, mainly the fan base. First of all, I am aware that this is very much a double-edged sword talking about fan bases. Now, seeing as how this is an easily accessible PC game, it leaves itself open to a lot of hacks, mods, etc. And while they certainly aren't all winners, there are a lot of interesting takes on the story. I mean, this is basically writing a fanfic in the form of a game. Most of what I've seen hasn't been among the cringy fanfictions you'd expect to see out of other communities. What I mean by that is you don't see random shit like Knuckles making out with Princess Peach or something completely unrelated to the game, at least not that I've seen. Please don't tell me there's art of that exact same thing. Anyways, the mods are interesting because they're different takes of the given universe that make it even more interesting to ask, what if this happened, or what if we changed this about the game? And of course, they're by no means canonical to the actual game, but I feel the effort put into them is incredibly respectable. The extra art, dialogue, and the different alterations to the story are great add-ons to just expand the given universe. Not to mention some of the great fan art that I've seen. Naturally, there's some cringy and sometimes disgusting creations made by fan bases, but I feel like in 2018, that's to be expected. We have certainly seen worse. And that was Doki Doki Literature Club, a game that pushed the visual novel genre to new heights in unexpected ways. With its wonderful story, characters, fourth wall breaks, visuals, music, and writing, this game grabs onto you and holds onto you from start to finish. This game was easily one of the games I found myself most invested in when it came to the outcomes of the story and all the characters. And the fact that such a wonderful, boundary-pushing game was made by such a small team of give or take 10 people is truly inspiring as an aspiring game designer myself. And it's with utmost sincerity that I congratulate Dan Salvato as well as Team Salvato for making such an influential title, much less in 2017, which, like I said, pretty damn good year for gaming. If you have yet to play this game or some of the mods, first of all, why'd you even watch this video? I implore you to at least try it. It's free and super easy to set up and get playing. Seriously though, free? A game that took an unpopular genre and made it something full of potential, beautiful art, music, passion, care, and nuance is something that you can get for free and will easily provide 3 to 5 hours of fun. At the revival of one of the most notorious video game protagonists with 1 hour's worth of gameplay created by a huge team, cost $30? I'm done with video games, see ya later. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. It seriously means a lot to me because this was so much fun to do after I got a better editing program. Oh man, I love doing analytical content like this, and I hope to provide you guys with even more in the future. And I hope to upload a lot more in 2018 than I did in 2016 and 2017 because I was basically not in the mood to do what I was doing, and I wasn't really happy with what I made. But now I'm really happy to start making YouTube content again. And I hope you guys enjoy this kind of stuff because you can expect to see more of it in the future of 2018. So thank you all so much for watching. Like I said again, I hope you all have a wonderful day. Keep on gaming. I'll see you guys next time.